And now I'd like to introduce Nancy Pfund from DBL Partners. Nancy Pfund is a pioneer who has been working for, well, 12 years with DBL Partners, but before that, she was doing impact investing before it was called impact investing. And she is here tonight to share some of her vision of the future of energy. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on the launching of Energy Unlocked, Molly, and your team. It's been a real pleasure to work with you, and it's always great to have another group that understands the power of innovation to help us solve the challenge of climate change. And so what I'd like to do is just spend a few minutes, and I hope we'll have a chance to have Q&A and dialogue and hear from what I'm sure is a very, very talented and committed audience. But I'd like to just spend a few minutes talking about the role of venture capital in helping to create that disruption to allow for a clean energy future. And I think most people understand now that venture capital is all about disruption. That's really how we are able to move from the past to the future and change the dominance of incumbents to new entrants. And basically, most of the products and services that we can't live without today, like your phone, like Twitter, like Google, those innovations all came from venture-backed companies. And so it really is a powerful tool to move society forward in a lot of different ways. What's happening now is that this disruption, this advancement, is happening in energy, finally. We have companies like Tesla, we have SolarCity, Nest, there's a whole new crop of companies that are disrupting centuries-old incumbents, and this is how we're giving us both power and convenience in our fight against climate change. So what's a little bit different is that as we are developing these new companies, we don't quite recognize it the way we recognize moving from those old-fashioned cell phones that were heavy and expensive to a smartphone. I mean, we all lived through some portion of that, but we don't recognize it as much in energy because energy has just stayed the same for 100 years. And it really still is our grandfather's electricity system that we've been using. And so we're not used to change in this sector. And that's why this is a little more, perhaps, challenging to get this disruption going, because we don't have the experience that we've had in music or radio or computers or telephones to go by. But that is changing. And one statistic I'd like to give you is just let's compare Tesla and General Motors, two automobile companies. General Motors is 100 years old. I think it was founded in 1907, and obviously is one of the leading car companies. Tesla is about 10 years old, a little over 10 years old. And so in the 10 years that Tesla has been around, it has today over half the market capitalization of General Motors. Market capitalization is really the stock value of a company, the shares outstanding times the price, which is an indicator of what people view as the future value of an industry and of companies within an industry. So it's a really important metric. And the fact that in 10 years, a company like Tesla has achieved half the market cap of a 100-year-old dominant player is just stunning. This is something that hasn't happened in energy. And there are other examples I could give you, but it's a really important statistic that is, in many ways, it's a postcard from the future. This is going to continue to happen. You're going to get more names there, and eventually you'll see a rearrangement of the old and the new. Some will no longer be around, both new and old companies, and then some will stay and reinvent themselves. So this is something that really enables us to unlock the power of the markets to help us fight the climate change challenge. And so what I see is that the companies, such as the ones I've mentioned, they are really becoming, this industry is developing the iconic 21st century versions of 20th century names like GE and Daimler and other names that we've all grown up with. But they're 20th century names. They're fossil-based or they're centralized. They're not what we want to live with now. And so we're in some ways passing the baton to a low-carbon, cleaner energy future when we reallocate our resources from the old to the new. And really, what are these companies capturing? They are capturing a newfound consumer preference for mobile, for transparency, for anywhere, anytime, for choice, for personalization. These are the dominant themes of our age, and we see them in many products that we use. But again, we've never seen them in energy until now. And what you get when you, like, I never even used to know where my meter was on my house 12 years ago. I'm embarrassed to say that. But talk about lack of transparency. Today we're shifting. People not only know about their electricity, but increasingly they don't even just want to know where their electricity comes from. They want to insist that it not come from certain sources. And we don't all have the power to do that yet. Like we do in choosing our radio stations and such. So that's something that is happening with this new crop of companies. And what I call it is what we're entering is the age of kind of a no-sacrifice approach to energy. And that means no sacrifice on performance of the product or service, no sacrifice on cost. We're seeing costs be very competitive with wind and solar, and they will be increasingly competitive with storage. No sacrifice on coolness, on functionality, and then no sacrifice on climate protection and enhancement, actually. And that combination is a winner in any market that you want to play in, because that's where we are today. That's what consumers want. They don't settle for not having those choices. They vote with their wallet and with their purchases, and they want that increasing choice and transparency. So this all adds up to a pretty messy situation sometimes, because when you're trying to change an industry that hasn't changed for a long time, the reaction is there's two reactions. One is the incumbents try to squash the new entrants through their lobbying power, through their control of distribution, through lots of ways. And then the second is that they try to adapt and find themselves in a new world where the chairs have been rearranged. I would say that we're not quite at that point where all of the chairs have been rearranged. There will be companies that, both old and new, that won't survive, and then there will be ones that can grow and force the industry to rearrange. But there is a way forward, and what's making me really optimistic is to see that we're getting beyond some of the acrimony and moving towards shared solutions. And so when I think about what we all need to do, it has to do with standing up and helping this transformation happen. Because there are barriers, be they the incumbents I've been talking about, or policy, or ignorance, but there are also incredibly inspiring opportunities. And I just want to leave you with one example. We started Tesla when we were in Tesla in Solar City. It was very local. We never really thought it would work out so well. We didn't know how bold and big it was all going to be at the time. And yet now we're able to take the learnings from business models, from technology cost curves that we've used in the developed world, and obviously we're still just early days, but already we can take those learnings and address a big opportunity slash problem, which is the 1.3 billion people on this planet that don't even have access to reliable electricity. Many of those living in sub-Saharan Africa and India and other places. And in 2015, almost 2016, we just can't support that. We need to bring these areas, bring the folks there into the middle class. And so folks like me and a whole new group of investors are investing in companies that are doing just that. They're going to take the learnings from what we've been building in the developed world and bring clean distributed electricity to places in the world where kerosene and inferior solutions have kept people back. And in the process, we'll build a world, a big part of the world, where we'll see a middle class and we'll see an increase in health and standard of living, all of which are amazing benefits to be had that go beyond even the ability and the urgency of fighting climate change. I don't know if he's here, but one company we just invested in, Off-Grid Electric, is doing just what I described in Tanzania. And so we're really excited about that. I could go on and on about all the entrepreneurs out there, because this field is attracting the best and the brightest. It is aspirational. It is what people want to be when they grow up. They don't want to be but the part of the past, they want to be part of the future. And I believe that working together, we can make this happen in a way that's in time to make a difference and make the world livable and sustainable and most importantly, worth living in. And I appreciate all of you being here on a Friday night, and I know that you're all working in important ways to enable this transformation. And I look forward to the day where we can celebrate and move on to the next level of quality of life and protection of our planet together. So thank you very much for having me today.